Super Mario Party Jamboree introduced a lot of new mechanics to the Mario Party franchise. None of them are as cool, in my opinion, as the Allies system. Now, the Allies system is definitely not perfect. In fact, the allies in this game can be utterly broken, allowing you to get 2 stars at once. But if I'm being honest, that's kind of what makes them really fun. Every ally in this game not only comes with an awesome new ally minigame, which are some of the best in the entire series because they're massive minigames that really feel super important to the game itself, but each ally also has a passive ability. Bowser Jr. sets a half-coin steel trap on any space you land on. Wario just straight up gives you money at the start of every turn, and Daisy makes everything at the store half off. These abilities can be completely busted, so yeah, these are crazy. In this video, we're going to be going over 20 new allies we could see in Mario Party Jamboree. The first 12 are just going to be the 12 characters in the game that are not currently allies, because for some reason, not every character in the game can actually be an ally. And then the final 8 characters are just going to be characters that should be in the game and also should be allies. Those are the creative picks. Each one of these allies will not only have a new passive ability, and some of these get absolutely insane, but we've mocked up a mini game for each one. This is a super fun video. I'm really excited for it. So let's jump into the first ally, and that is Pauline. I was so excited to see Pauline join the party in Super Mario Party Jamboree. I love that she's been being included into a bunch of different Mario spin-offs. She was in a bunch of Mario sports games, she got added in the Booster Course Pass to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and now she's finally joined the Mario Party. However, she's not an ally. Let's fix that. Pauline's minigame would be Pauline's Perilous Climb. This could basically just be climbing up New Donk City Hall. Like in Mario Odyssey, you actually climb up the inside of New Donk City Hall, which is infested with these gross flying mosquito enemies, and also a bunch of platforms that help you climb up. The first one to reach the top of this wins, and for Pauline's passive ability, I think with Pauline, anytime you land on a red space, instead of taking coins, it should actually just give you coins. Not only that, it should give you double the amount of coins it takes. Mainly, I want Pauline to be an ally though, because the Pauline minigame actually climbing up New Donk City, that would be a sick reference to Mario Odyssey. But now let's move on to the next ally, being Bowser. Bowser's minigame would be called Bowser's Furious Race, and this would be a Plessy race, kind of like the income stream minigame, where each player is on their own Plessy, but instead of trying to collect coins, you're trying to dodge attacks from Fury Bowser. That's right, the final boss in Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury mode is against, you guessed it, Fury Bowser, and you're riding on Plessy trying to dodge all this fire and spikes being shot at you. It's an awesome final boss, but also would work really well in a Mario Party minigame. Not only that, but Bowser's passive ability as an ally is one of the coolest in this entire video. Any character you pass, you would now be able to challenge to a duel if you wanted to. Normally, you have to either use an item to initiate a duel or land on someone towards the end of the game, but with Bowser as your ally, anyone you pass, you would get a little pop-up saying, would you like to duel them? And you could initiate a duel at any time. This would be crazy and really lean into the chaotic, violent nature of Bowser, I guess. Next, we have Toadette, and for Toadette's ally minigame and passive ability, I wanted to lean into Builder Toadette, who was actually a star character in Super Mario Maker 2, specifically that game's campaign. Toadette's Builder Battle would be her ally minigame, and you would essentially have to rebuild Peach's castle faster than the opponents to win this ally minigame. However, her passive ability also leans into this builder aspect, and I think this one's really neat. At the beginning of every turn, Toadette would be able to upgrade a random item you have in your inventory. Now, what is upgrading an item? Well, a lot of items in this game kind of have 2 different versions: a less expensive, worse version, or a more expensive, better version. For example, Toadette might be able to upgrade double dice to triple dice, or a golden double dice to golden triple dice. Maybe she could even upgrade the normal pipe that warps you to a random spot to the golden pipe, which warps you directly to a star. I love this idea of being able to upgrade items, and considering Toadette is kind of leaning into this whole builder aesthetic, it kind of makes sense. She's like building the item into a better item. Does that make sense? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Next up, we have Birdo, and this would be Birdo's Extravaganza. There is a Fall Guys minigame. Yeah, we're breaking out the Fall Guys comparisons for this, called Egg Scramble. It's basically a 3-team minigame where you have to go grab a bunch of eggs, but other people can grab the eggs too, so you want to be quick and bring them back to your own base so they actually count towards your score. There are golden eggs here worth extra points, and this would work perfectly as a Birdo minigame. Birdo's passive ability is a bit crazy. It would actually give you a random chance to move backwards. There are so many times in a Mario Party game where maybe you just pass somewhere you wanted to go, but obviously there's no like way to roll backwards. Maybe after rolling the dice, Birdo would would come up with a wheel that you could stop to either make your roll positive or negative, meaning you could roll backwards. This would probably break a couple of boards, but there's definitely a way they could implement this. Sure, sometimes it might hurt you, but Donkey Kong's ally ability literally teleports you to a random spot on the map, so clearly that's not something they're trying to avoid here. Next we have Toad, and his ally minigame would be Toad's Tricky Maze. This would essentially just be a maze Captain Toad level that you have to complete before your friends. No one would be able to jump in this minigame to pay homage to Captain Toad because, you know, he can't jump. And besides that, you would kind of just get a brand new mini Captain Toad level that you would actually race through, because that game didn't have multiplayer, or I guess it did kind of have co-op. They added that into the Switch version as an update, but there was no form of versus multiplayer in this. But I always thought Captain Toad levels would be really fun to kind of speedrun against your friends, so that would get added into this through a Mario Party minigame. Toad's ability would be pretty simple. You would have a 50-50 chance to get 5 extra spaces added to every single roll, which is essentially just the mushroom item, because, I don't know, mushroom Toad, it makes sense, trust me. If you're enjoying this, why don't you use a mushroom to roll 5 spaces into that subscribe button? Seriously, if you are enjoying the content, subscribing is the best way you can help us out. We're so close to 250,000 subscribers, and you might think you're subscribed, but you're not. Anyway, let's move on to Goomba. Goomba's minigame is Goomba's Devious Bunker. And as a Goomba, what is the one thing you cannot allow happen? You cannot get stomped on by Mario. You gotta protect your head, because that's how you die. In Goomba's Devious Bunker, you just have to walk around avoiding falling balls. If you get hit by one, you die just like a Goomba. The Goomba Ally minigame will spawn golden Goombas in front of you. The golden Goombas show up in the Goomba Lagoon map. Every once in a while, when the volcano erupts, a bunch of golden Goombas spawn, and they give you coins every time you pass over them. The Goomba Ally power would just spawn some of these in front of you, but obviously it's not like you just get the coins right away. You still need to roll high enough to actually run into all the golden Goombas to get the coins. The next ally minigame I want to talk about is Shy Guy, and we have Shy Guy's Spooky Race. This is basically red light, green light, but with masks. Basically, every character has a little Shy Guy mask, and you cannot move with the Shy Guy mask on. But when the big Shy Guy turns around to look at you, you better have the mask on, so it essentially just turns into a game of red light, green light. Shy Guy's ally ability would let you actually roll 2 different dice, and then choose which one you want, which again, I think is a pretty cool mechanic. I'm getting kind of creative with these ally mechanics, but to be fair, I think these are not only one of the coolest new features in the game, but one of the features that definitely could be improved, because the idea of having a passive Mario Party buff throughout a couple of turns of the game is such a great idea that I hope they run with in future entries. Next up, we have Koopa, and his minigame is Koopa Troopa's Shell Frenzy. Basically, you just avoid the shell by jumping over it. A bunch of shells are going around, and you don't want to get hit by them. Koopa's passive ally ability is that anyone you pass gets sent backwards anywhere between 3 to 6 spaces. Basically, as you pass someone, Koopa turns into his shell, hits them, and then they get sent backwards. Next up, we have Monty Mole, and his ally minigame would be Monty's Whack-a-Mole. Basically, you just take the Koopathlon Noggin Knock minigame, but make it 4 players, and yeah, that would be good enough for Monty's ally minigame, honestly. This Koopathlon minigame is already really fun, so I would just enjoy being able to play this at all during the actual Mario Party game mode. Monty's passive ability would be after your turn, Monty actually burrows you underground, so you're still on that space, but you can't be dueled if someone lands on you, which is a good defensive ability. Next up, we have King Boo with King Boo's Twilight Haunt. This is a dark maze minigame where you have a flashlight and have to reach the end of the maze while avoiding Boo. You don't want to use your flashlight the whole time though, because kind of like the Luigi's Mansion Nintendo Land minigame, it has limited battery, but you can pick up battery pickups along the way to recharge it. Boo's passive ability would buff the Boo spot found on every map, allowing you to steal coins for free, or normally a star for 50 coins. With the Boo ally though, star steals would only be 30 coins. Next up, we have Spike with his minigame Spike's Perilous Climb. This is basically Spike's Gambit, yet another Koopathlon minigame, but instead of being a coin minigame where you just run around to get coins, it would be a long race up this massive sand mountain, obviously avoiding different spiked objects that spikes are throwing at you from above. Every turn, Spike would place down a random half-coin steel trap. Bowser Jr. does this on any space you land on, but Spike would do it on a random space throughout anywhere on the board. The final ally out of the characters that are already in this game who didn't actually become an ally is Ninji. Ninji was an oddball inclusion in this one, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm a pretty big fan. I love it when Mario Party games throw in just a weird character. Like, why is he here? Anyway, Ninji's minigame would be Ninji's Nighttime Run. This takes inspiration from the Ninji speedrun mode in Mario Maker. Basically, it would be a different 2D platforming level that probably takes place at night, maybe on a dojo like Ninja Hideaway, and you just have to speedrun through it trying to reach the end faster than anyone else. Ninji's ability would allow you to teleport to a random person at the the start of each turn. Again, this is kind of like the Donkey Kong ability that just sends you to a random space. Is this good? Is this bad? Well, I don't know. It's definitely situational, but what I can tell you is it'll add a lot more chaos to the party, which is always a good thing. All right, the final 8 characters we have to talk about here are characters that honestly probably could have been in this game, but just weren't for one reason or another. The first of these characters is one I really wanted to see included, but unfortunately isn't here, and that is Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong's minigame would be Diddy's Banana Party. In this minigame, you peel as many bananas as you can. So it would basically be kind of either a mashing or a motion controlled minigame depending on how they wanted you to actually be able to peel the bananas, but then after you peel a bunch of bananas, you can place them on each character's different paths. Basically, however many bananas you peel is how many bananas you can put on someone's path to make them have to try and avoid, so it's a bit of a mashing minigame mixed with, okay, well, who do we want to screw over? Diddy Kong's ability would place a couple bananas on the board at random times, and if someone passes a space with a banana, they slip, ending their turn on that space. Next up, we have Hammer Bro, and his minigame would be Hammer Bro's Crazy Kitchen. This is inspired from the Pan Bros from Super Mario Odyssey's Luncheon Kingdom, as apparently Hammer Bros are chefs in some universe? Okay, weird. Basically, this is an actual cooking minigame, not one of those rhythm kitchen cooking minigames, no rhythm included. You just have to complete a bunch of mini tasks to try and cook something up, focusing on speed and accuracy. Hammer Bro's ability would throw hammers at anyone within 3 to 8 spaces of you, and if there's anyone close to you who gets hit by a hammer, they lose a certain amount of coins, maybe anywhere from 5 to 8 or 5 to 10, depending on the balancing. Next up, we have Dry Bones. I really wish I could play as Dry Bones in this game, but alas, some things are not meant to be. However, his minigame would be awesome. This is Dry Bones' Shifting Stage. Dry Bones is known for being able to shrink down, I guess, or more so disassemble, whenever he gets stepped on, but then he reanimates and comes back to life, and that would be a useful ability to have in this minigame, because this is essentially like a hole in the wall type minigame. You know that old TV show, Hole in the Wall, where you just gotta, get into the hole in the wall, if not, you get hit off? This would just be kind of like that. You gotta be able to fit into the spot that's safe, and everyone else is obviously trying to do it too, so people are bumping into each other, and it just gets hectic. Dry Bones, considering he's one of Bowser's most loyal minions, would be able to turn any Bowser space you land on into a lucky space, acting as a great defensive passive buff during the actual Mario Party games. Next up, we have Pom Pom, and her minigame would be Pom Pom's Shuriken Toss. If you ever played Takamaru's Ninja Castle from Nintendo Land, this would be kind of like that. It's a shooting gallery, except you're shooting out shurikens. Pom Pom's passive ability would make use of her disappearing / teleport ability, because now you would be invulnerable and unable to be affected by any item use from your opponents. If someone uses the mirror that switches spots with you, it wouldn't affect you, it doesn't bother you. Someone tries to use a dueling glove on you, once again, doesn't affect you. This would just make you invulnerable to other players' item use for the couple of turns that you have Pom Pom. Next up, we have Blooper with his minigame Blooper's Puzzling Problems. Blooper inks your screen covering a painting, and you have a limited time to hose down your screen with a cursor, revealing the painting behind it. After a pretty strict time limit, a question about the painting is asked, and you better hope that you've inked down the painting enough to be able to answer the question. Blooper's passive ability will ink anyone you pass. When someone is inked, they are not allowed to use items for 1 turn. Next up, we have Magi Koopa, and I know Kamek is technically the host of this game, and Kamek is Magi Koopa, or maybe not, I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below if they're actually the same person. I never really understood that. But if Magi Koopa was a playable character and an ally, their minigame would definitely be Magi Koopa's Broom Ride. You would fly around in the air on a broom, collecting different coins and casting spells to damage your opponents. Magi Koopa would allow you to update your roll by 1 in either direction after rolling. So for example, if you rolled a 6, you could transform that either into a 5 or a 7, which would actually be super useful. Next up, we have King Bob-omb. I love it when this guy's included in Mario spin-offs. He was in a couple of the Mario sports games, and while not in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, he was a playable racer in Mario Kart Tour, so I'd love to see him join the party as a playable character at some point. His minigame here would be King Bob-omb's Demolition Derby. It's basically Angry Birds, but with Bob-ombs. You shoot Bob-ombs at a giant structure, trying to cause the most damage possible. King Bob-omb's ability would drop different bombs on spaces, which basically turns said spaces into coin steal spaces. You wouldn't steal a ton of coins because he'd probably place down a decent amount of Bob-ombs, but if someone landed on these spaces, they would lose maybe 3 to 8 coins and they'd get sent over to you. The final character I want to talk about here is Chargin Chuck's Gridiron Gauntlet. This would be like an extreme version of the tackle takedown minigame, where you basically just have to survive on a football field as Chargin Chucks come in from everywhere to try and tackle you. Chargin Chuck's ability would be his dash, so every time you roll, Chargin Chuck starts dashing, and if you pass anyone, Chargin Chuck trucks them forward or backwards a few spots. No one is safe. As you pass people, they just get kind of randomly moved around, which could mess up their plans, placing them either further to a star or maybe past a different junction where they wanted to go one way or the other. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video by hitting the like button and commenting down below what allies and new ally minigames you'd love to see. I don't know if these will ever get added because Nintendo seems really strict on not adding in DLC to any Mario Party game, which is kind of annoying, but I do think these ideas are super fun, and if the next Mario Party game runs with this ally mechanic, I hope to see some of these included. But let me know once again down in the comments below what allies you'd love to see, and if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button as it's the best way to help us out, and click the video on screen right now to see us ranking every single Mario Party game. That's right, we ranked every single one. To see where we put Jamboree and others, click the video on screen right now. Thank you guys for watching. I'm signing off. Peace.